Hello survivors, and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. And in this video we're going to be checking out the screenshot that's been circulating. It's on forums, it's on my Discord, it's on line chats, it's on Facebook group, it's everywhere. This image is everywhere. I don't think I'm in a chat where I haven't seen it pop up when it's to do with Road to Survival. If you haven't seen it, this is the screenshot. It's a screenshot of Amber, and she's getting promoted with 50 of these items, which cost 5 million food, and it's veterans rings, 150 of these items, but it's 50 levels, so I guess 3 veterans rings per level. Now, there are some people who think this is potentially photoshopped. I use Photoshop. This would be some next-gen Photoshop if it was a Photoshop. But there is potential if someone's got insane amounts of skill, but for someone to just randomly come out of a Photoshop like that is kind of strange. This could also be the first iteration of what S-Class has become, which we do know is in the game. We did have Pete Anderson get released, obviously. Boosted stats. Boosted rush from his Generation 2 6-star rush, boosted active skill, boosted leader skill, everything boosted from his Generation 2 character. So obviously a much stronger character over that Generation 2 character, but also much stronger compared to all other Generation 2 characters just based on his stats alone. But we'll get back to Amber in terms of, I don't think this is a Photoshop. It is probably real. What it could be is, like I said, the original iteration of what S-Class has become. What we know from this screenshot and what we know from S-Class is that they're both of characters that are in the game already and taking them to like the next tier effectively. What most people are branding 7 stars. Now, I don't mind this way of doing things compared to how it was done in the 5 to 6 star era, because as everybody knows, Legacy Ascendables are just absolutely terrible in terms of their release rate, in terms of their quality. At least this way, you know you've got a good character. You could promote them with these rings and they get better in terms of their base stats. You know what you're getting there. Whereas Legacy Ascendables were highly anticipating certain characters getting released, and when they're released, or even when you get a surprise release, like Sawyer, the worst surprise of all time, these characters when they get released are terrible, have no usage. So you're still relying on those Generation 1 characters pretty much. I highlighted in my last video there's been 15 Generation 2 6-stars released in free-to-play since Christmas Day, which was the first Generation 2 character, which was Camilla. There have also been 30 promo characters released, and obviously people who get promos on a regular basis also have access to free-to-play characters and event characters. A lot of people don't have, within free-to-play at least, just in terms of what you can even get your hands on easily, unless you got lucky on an RNG wheel, a full team that works together on defense or attack that's Generation 2. There's Generation 1 characters mixed in, or there's off-trait characters that don't get anything from the leader bonus, which obviously makes them a lot weaker as well. There's a few videos that have been circulating in the last couple of days, basically since all these S-Class characters have come out, and it's highlighting revenue streaming for mobile phone games and in terms of how they try and get money out of people who play mobile phone games. I might do an actual specific video on these videos, but it's been done very well by other people already. There's a Jim Sterling video that I watched that was pretty good. I watched the actual video that he was making his video around, and while this video is talking about how to make the most money in your mobile phone game, it talks about 4 main revenue streams. I think it was something along the lines of being able to sell, progress in a game, being able to sell customization, being able to sell competitive advantage, and being able to sell content. Now, Road to Survival obviously sells items within progress. Not much to do with customization, a lot of visual stuff. That I've always said there's a lot of opportunity to do some low-end sales of like avatars for very small amounts of coins, or maybe $1 just for a nice looking avatar every now and again. It could be a nice little extra thing, doesn't mean anything. When I had my phone call with Scopely earlier on this year, one of the things I highlighted is that 99.99% of the things that are sold in the game are power-based, which is the competitive advantage. So that means pay to win, obviously. And it's funny because while this video is made in terms of how to make the most money out of your user base, the guy did actually say something based on the competitive advantage part of it with the pay to win. Being able to take down your enemy better, having better characters, this sort of thing. And I'll quote him from that video. He says, competitive advantage is good, but you can go overboard with it and have an unbalanced game. If it is too clearly pay to win, people will stop playing. And this is from someone who obviously doesn't have much morals in terms of the individuals he's dealing with. It's just about the revenue. which I guess a lot of companies can be like that. But when this guy's saying that, if you have an unbalanced game, that's not a good thing. You can do too much here, and people will start leaving your game. It's obviously because the more people that play your game, the better chance you have of having a bigger revenue stream. The biggest issue that Road to Survival has had recently is that people are leaving the game, and this is because of the balance within the game right now. There are not enough characters to get your hands on within free-to-play. There's not a good enough avenue to get those characters. You've got to rely on RNG in pretty much 99% of the game. When I have a new player come to me and say, how do I get a good team? It's horrendous that I just have to say, get lucky on a wheel. Because that is pretty much how it works in this game, unfortunately. There's no characters where you can just buy parts of a character like you can in shard-based games in a certain area. I do play some other games just to see how it is for other games, and I play a game called Marvel Strike Force very casually, but in that they have a team called Defenders. And if you know the Defenders from Marvel, it's about Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. Now this is one of the top 5 teams in the game, and you can get this as a free-to-play. You can get those characters and you can farm them, and you can get them up to even max level, max star, max power as a free-to-play. So when someone goes to a content creator in that game and they say, I'm new to the game, what should I do? That content creator straight away says, get a good defender team and have that as a baseline, and then start working on other parts of the game. You feel like you're making progress when you do this as an individual. And there's other parts of that video where it tells you, like, you get people who are playing your game into your game that way. You get them hooked into your game because they feel like they're actually making progress, they're having fun, and they're much more likely to open their wallets. Is pretty much as simple as that. And I think the biggest issue with Road to Survival right now is people are not having as much fun as they potentially once were, and their wallets are closing, unfortunately. And pretty much so is mine recently. My 30-day pass came up and I just didn't renew it. I didn't renew it. I know it's only a 30-day pass. It might not seem like a lot to you guys, but I've kept that 30-day pass up for the entire time 30-day pass has been out. I think I forgot to renew it once and I had to do it full price like 24 hours later. Unfortunately, there's not that grace period, unfortunately, but I'm not renewing my 30-day pass because I'm not having as much fun as I once was. I think the same thing can go for a lot of other people in terms of how they feel about this game right now. Maybe people do think things are moving a bit too fast. I have no problem with the speed of power creep as long as it's a balanced power creep across the boards. And when you're getting these characters get released within free-to-play that are this bad, what's your average player meant to do? And I mean your average player as in like 80 to 90% of your player base, because this isn't a fun game for them at the moment. And that 80 to 90% of your player base is dwindling right now. And what's worse is even alienating a lot of the spenders. The only people who are properly throwing money at the game at the moment are just really deep down that rabbit hole. The tactics in terms of release date as well. S-Class getting released right before TOC is... I shake my head at that one, I'm going to be honest, because it happened before War of Champions as well, I believe, with Zachary getting released just before War of Champions, or like a week or two before War of Champions. I don't know, just a little bit disappointed with the progress and how it's going at the moment. The screenshot of Amber, like I said, it could be real, it could be the first iteration of what S-Class was to become, but what's for sure is S-Class is here, and we need some more balance at the lower tiers. 100%. And we need a better avenue for new players to come into the game. Solid avenues where they can get at least a solid attack and defense team and build from that. Because there are still players right now who've been playing for like a year who haven't got a good leader, which is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And it's just because a lot of the game is based on RNG right now. But I just thought I'd talk about this Amber and the other randomness that's going on at the moment. I might do another video, like I said, about the tricks for monetizing a mobile game video that is circulating around at the moment, and just maybe identify those tricks within RTS and see how they're being utilized, because they are definitely being utilized in RTS. Like I said before, even that guy said, and I'll quote him once more, competitive advantage is good, but you can go overboard with it and have an unbalanced game. If it is too clearly pay to win, people will stop playing. This is what is happening right now. It's going to get worse. Please fix your game. Make it balanced. Even if you are going to bring out these S-Class characters and these veteran ring characters, please balance your game across the board. Thank you very much for tuning in though, guys. That's the end of my video. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.